Hello Servios, this is the tutorial for Beat Boot Battle. In order to play the game you need at least 2 people, and you're going to need an Xbox controller for each person, but the game's most fun whenever you play with 4 people, so I'd highly suggest getting 4 people. Whenever you start the game, it should look like this. So for every person, if they push A, they'll ready up for the game. If they don't want to play, they can push B to back out. But once everyone's ready, you can go ahead and start. It says changing maps there at the bottom, but I'll explain that a little bit later. Okay. So when you push the start button, the right one at the top, it'll start the game, and it'll start bouncing between input phase and move phase. Input phase, move phase, over and over again. And you can kind of hear the beats going in the background, and it'll all make sense here in just a second. So in order to move around in the game, you push either up, down, left, and right on the D-pad, and during the move phase, it'll execute all the moves that you see up there in the top left corner. But now, as you saw, whenever you were inputting them, they were all question marks. Why are they all question marks? It's because everyone's going to be putting in their input at the same time, and I wanted to hide what your input is. If you hold down either the right bumper or the left bumper, it will show you your input, like just only as long as it's being held down. So you can like tap it if you want to type in your input and then like quickly check what it is. You want to have the input hidden from your input from everyone else's, because your moves, you want to have what you're about to do to be a secret, so that way you can maybe trick your opponent or catch them off guard or something like that. Strategically, if the moves were all revealed, then everyone would just watch each other's moves and try to counterplay them over and over again, and then it would just end up everyone just smashes their input at the last second as fast as possible. It's easy for a player to remember how many inputs they put in, like if they've only put in 2 before the thing ends, because you see a question mark each time you type in something. So yeah, so other than just plain movement, you can you have 4 buttons on the right side. So A, by pushing A, you just wait. So you'll see if you move down a couple times and click wait, it's a move that does nothing. So instead of you having to always do something, you can click A to wait. You can also click the X button to fire a beam, as you'll see right here. Firing a beam will kill everyone who's in a straight line between you and, I guess, the end of the beam, basically. Anything that the beam hits. The beam will stop at walls, but it will just kill everyone in a straight line. Let's see. Okay, well, next is Y. So if you push Y and then move off of that space, Y will drop a bomb, and then whenever you leave that space, the bomb will be planted in that spot. Bombs will be triggered whenever someone touches it, or whenever you shoot it with a beam, as I'll show here in just a second. Whenever a bomb explodes, it'll destroy everything in a 3x3 square around it. It'll also destroy all walls that are around it, but usually you're trying to use them to destroy people. So the goal of the game is to kill everyone else on the map. I don't currently have other people, but there'll be like a gameplay video showing you an example gameplay. So lastly is the B button. You can use the B button to cancel and clear all the inputs you have so far. So if I've pushed a couple things, I'm like, oh wait, I want to do something else, I can push B and then type in something completely different. Okay, so the last thing is you can fire multiple times on your character. So for instance, if I'm facing one direction, I push fire, I fire once. Next time I can fire twice. I mean, this kind of makes sense. If you fire multiple times, it'll happen multiple times. But specifically, something happens whenever you push fire 3 times in a row, as I'll reveal right there. It'll change 3 fires in a row to a wait, a crossfire, and then a wait. So that's one special combo that's sort of in the game. And you can also, you can also either fire 3 times in a row and do it, or you can like move once and then fire 3 times, and it'll just replace the first instance of 3 fires in a row. And this is sort of to prevent someone from just sitting there and spamming the fire button one after another, as I'll show here in just 1 second. So like if I fire, I'd have to push A and then fire. Like, you can't just be firing constantly. That was one thing to kind of break it up, but I also wanted to test out like combos. Like, what if you pushed certain buttons in certain sequences, maybe it did something different. So it's just sort of to try it out, and it's just one special input that's not immediately obvious in the game. And there was other couple reasons why I wanted to try it out, but I thought having the ability to do a crossfire would be pretty cool. Okay, so next to each player's input row at the top, there is a bomb symbol with a number on it, and that's how many bombs they have left. They cannot place bombs if they don't have any bombs left. So in order to get more bombs, as you can see on the map, there's different items scattered around. Specifically, there are the black spiky squares that are for picking up more bombs, which I can roll over and pick up. There are the green plus squares, which make you grow bigger, and then there's the purple outline of cubes that create a clone. So whenever you pick up a bomb, like I said, it increases your little number there at the top, and it does exactly what you think whenever you place one. So now I'm going to go over to the growth pickup. So for the growth, whenever you touch it, you will grow to like a 3x3x3 square. You'll be really big, and then each of your movements will be a giant roll forward and to the side. So you can see like this. Anywhere you roll, you smash, which makes you really strong, and you will destroy walls or people in your way. It also makes you vulnerable though, because now a beam can hit you on any of those 3x3 squares. Whenever you pick it up, you also have to wait a turn, and then you can roll, and then you have to wait a turn when you're shrinking again. But it's fairly good in general. Whenever you're big, all your things are multiplied. So if you were to fire, you would fire 3 beams instead of 1. If you were to... Oops. If you were to... here, let me do that one again real quick, sorry. So if you were to pick up the growth thingy, all your things multiplied. So if you fire in a direction, every single row that you occupy would fire a beam. If you were to drop bombs, you would drop bombs in all of the 9 squares that you occupy. But it will only use 1 bomb for each of those, for all of the spaces that you were to drop it. So it doesn't drop like 9 bombs and use up 9 of them. It drops 9 bombs and only uses 1 of them. Also, if you use a crossbeam when you're big, it would do like a giant crossbeam sort of thing. The last power-up is a clone. So a clone, as we'll move over here and try to get... Oh, did I move too many? Whatever. So whenever you pick up the clone, you will create a copy of yourself, and it will be placed down after you leave the clone square, and this clone will do the exact same thing that your original guy does. If anything, there's no like original and then clones. They're all your original, and you only lose if all of you die. That means you and or all the clones that are currently existing. So if I were to put in input, all the clones do the same thing if they can. So for instance, if I push down, right, up, left, you'll see that he'll do the same thing as me, but as soon as he runs into a wall, he can no longer move, so he stops. And this is a way to sort of like separate your clones out and have them do different things while all still obeying the same input. So whenever you fire with them, they will also fire a beam. Whenever you drop a bomb, every single clone drops a bomb. So whenever you use bombs again, it doesn't use a bomb for every single space. It will use a bomb, and that will be it'll use a bomb, and that gets deducted from your bomb count, but a bomb will be placed at all your current locations. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's all the instructions, everything you need to know in order to play a game. There was a lot of interesting emergent gameplay that happened when designing this game and playtesting it and stuff. One of the more interesting things is, although bombs are usually, you think that they're used to like kill people or used as like chain reactions in interesting ways, you can also use bombs to destroy the environment. So whenever you're on the main screen, you can push the left and right bumper to switch to different maps and click start. So let's see. If I were to go here and drop a bomb, I can use this bomb to like clear a path, which may be more important to me here than trying to use it to kill someone, sort of thing, or to block off an alley so that way someone can't walk down it. Just different things like that. It was interesting, the different interactions with people. You can, if you physically roll into someone else, you both collide and explode, which means that sometimes you use your clones not to just do what you do, but to kind of use them as kamikaze people to run into someone else. Like if you have a clone, so you have your clone, so you use your second guy to run into someone else while you keep the first guy hidden in a corner or something like that. So yeah, so the point of the game is kill your opponents. If there is no one left, then it'll end in a tie. If you kill someone or someone dies and there's only one left, then you win. As we saw back here on the main menu, there are multiple maps that you can cycle through, and these are just a couple maps that I made, but if you watch the next video, you'll learn how you can also make your own maps by just editing a text file and dragging and dropping it into the streamed assets folder. So thank you for watching the tutorial, and I hope you enjoy.